Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Heat's Eric Spoelstra stern demand to Bam Adebayo-led frontcourt after 20-point blowout. As the Miami Heat lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers on Wednesday night, 126-106, it was a disappointing showing for the starting frontcourt of Bam Adebayo and rookie Kel'el Ware. Though the Heat duo of Adebayo and Ware brought life to the team recently, Eric Spoelstra gave a blunt message to the unit coming off the loss. In the loss, Miami was out-rebounded 47-35 and was especially outscored in the paint as Cleveland had 68 compared to 38 of the home team. Spoelstra would say after the game that there are no excuses as to why the group should be trailing like that in those specific areas, saying that they are the bigger front line. Some of the decision-making, poor spacing that was leading to some poor decisions, and then there are some outright poor decisions, and then the rebounding again, Spoelstra said. You know, we're a bigger front line, and this needs to be corrected. There are no excuses now, we have to be a lot more physical and purposeful on the glass, it's that important for us to finish possessions. The rebounding again, we're a bigger front line and this needs to be corrected. There are no excuses now, Eric Spoelstra on the front court and the team's rebounding struggle. The Heat's captain Bam Adebayo would finish with 21 points on 7 for 13 shooting from the field to go along with 9 rebounds and 3 assists, but it was Ware who had a relatively down game compared to the last handful of games. Miami's first-round selection would have 5 points on 2 for 6 shooting from the field with only 4 rebounds. There is no doubt that the Cavaliers showed why they are currently the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference as they are now 38-9 while the Heat are still looking to find some sort of semblance and continuity. Spoelstra would give credit to Cleveland for how they were beating Miami in what is usually their strength zone. So then those are the things that you have to start with, and then you deal with Donovan Mitchell, you know, Darius, Garland obviously didn't play tonight, but you have to deal with the things that then are hard, but there's other things that we're capable of doing, Spoelstra said. Having better spacing, executing with more intention, better shot selection, that's all within how we know how to play. Defensively, you know, disrupting things in the paint a lot better than we did at the rim in the paint, in the dotted circle. That's our strength zone right there. And they pretty much had their way in that area. The impact made at the start of the game by the opponents was noticeable as they were packing the paint, leading to sloppy offensive possessions for Miami. Cleveland would have 24 points in the paint in the first frame compared to the Heat's 8, which set the tone for the rest of the game. There would be multiple moments where the team would try to make runs to catch up, but as Spoelstra mentions, if you make one mistake, they are going to capitalize on it. I mean, the start of the game, they had, you know, 22 points in the paint, basically in the first quarter, Spoelstra said. And we're thinking, hey, this a 3-point shooting team, they haven't even started their game yet, so that didn't really set the tone, you know, for the game. And then we also got introduced to the team that's first in the East for a reason. Every time we were able to get the thing anywhere from 8 to 12 to 13 points if we made any kind of poor decision offensively, either shot selection or just decision-making, it turned into a 6-8-point run immediately. If we didn't block out, you know, and we had it within that range, it turned into a 6-8-point run immediately. Eric Spoelstra speaks on the performance tonight, especially when they were outscored 68-38 in the paint. Would speak on how any mistake could lead to a swing. We have to shore that up. We also got introduced to the team that's first in the East for a reason. #HeatNation. At any rate, the team now embarks on a 4-game road trip as they are back to .500 at 23-23, which puts them 7th in the East as they hope Heat star Tyler Herro is an all-star by then. Eric Spoelstra sent strong message to Heat bigs after blowout loss. The Miami Heat suffered a humbling 126-106 loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers on Wednesday night at Cavaliers Center, exposing a glaring weakness in the process. Outworked on the glass and outmuscled in the paint, the Heat were out-rebounded 47-35, allowing the Cavs to control the tempo and capitalize on second-chance opportunities. The Heat allowed Cavs big men Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen to haul down a combined 25 rebounds, while nobody other than Bam Adebayo grabbed more than 5 boards for Miami. Head coach Erik Spoelstra did not mince words post-game, sending a strong message to Miami's big men about their lackluster performance. "We're a bigger front line and this needs to be corrected. There are no excuses now," Spoelstra said, as shared by Anthony Chang of the Miami Herald. Erik Spoelstra on losing the rebounding battle tonight, "We're a bigger front line and this needs to be corrected. There are no excuses now." Spoelstra made it clear that Miami's struggles on the boards were unacceptable. Despite having size with Adebayo, Kel'el Ware and Nikola Jovic in the rotation, the Heat failed to impose their will against the Cavs' front line. Allen and Mobley feasted inside, exposing Miami's lack of physicality in the paint. The rebounding disparity underscored a larger issue for the Heat, who are currently ranked 20th in total rebounds per game. Without winning the battle on the boards, Miami's transition offense suffers and their defensive identity crumbles. The Heat allowed Cleveland to dictate the pace, and losing the battle on the glass only compounded their struggles. Spoelstra's blunt critique signals an urgent need for Miami's frontcourt to step up. Adebayo, the team's defensive anchor, finished with 9 rebounds, while Tyler Herro, Ware and Terry Rozier combined for 13. If Miami hopes to remain competitive in the Eastern Conference, its bigs must respond with more effort and physicality. With another tough matchup looming against Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs, the Heat will have little time to dwell on this loss. But one thing is certain: Spoelstra's message was loud and clear. Now, it's up to his players to answer the challenge. Warriors make Jimmy Butler trade decision after Miami Heat update. Miami Heat forward Jimmy Butler has been suspended indefinitely as the team works on fulfilling his trade request. The Golden State Warriors were linked to Butler when his desire for a trade first became known, but reportedly backed off their pursuit of the 6-time NBA All-Star when prominent organization members did not push for his addition, via The Athletic. As Butler has become a bigger distraction in Miami, the team's urgency to trade him has increased, leading to a reported decrease in asking price. The Heat's price has dropped, ESPN's Brian Windhorst reported. They are willing to do more than they were when this all started. Amid this update, it was reported by Kevin O'Connor of Yahoo Sports that Golden State had re-entered the Butler trade pursuit. Sources: the Warriors are one of several teams back in the mix for Jimmy Butler now that the Heat have lowered their asking price, O'Connor wrote on X. While this seemingly is the case, a more recent report from Anthony Slater of The Athletic revealed Golden State has decided to prioritize Chicago Bulls star Zach LaVine due to the belief he is a better cultural fit than Butler. Team sources have downplayed their recent involvement in conversations with the Heat, but there's been a noticeable increase in intrigue from the front office about the idea of Butler at a bargain, Slater wrote. After pulse-taking conversations with multiple players, it seems Zach LaVine might pique more interest, depending on his cost. Slater added, and if such a deal is possible, the idea of LaVine joining their midst has prompted some intrigue among key stakeholders. The presumption is he'd be a better fit in said culture. The remaining 2.5 years on LaVine's 5-year, $215 million contract have been a well-documented deterrent for any team with potential trade interest. That said, his $43 million salary for this season is less than Butler's $48 million. This means the salary-matching challenge of a potential LaVine deal would not be any more complicated than a Butler trade. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Jimmy Butler? Leave your opinion in the comments.